You are tuned in to the Leading Edge Conversations podcast. We're about to dive deep, so strap yourself in and get ready to explore the leading edge of consciousness. Welcome to the Leading Edge podcast. My name is Luke Scott III, and today I have an incredible guest for you. I am so excited to bring you the legend that has completely taken over my social media lately, Bobby Smith. He is an empowerment coach, and he ate nothing but watermelons for 108 days. And you're still alive?
Alive.
Didn't die?
I'm still alive. I'm still here, kicking and thriving, family.
No protein deficiency, no B12 deficiency.
None of that. Just
None of that.
staying at a high level, man. That's it. Just actually getting better. You know, that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Feeling real good.
Yeah, so good. I've been on the Fruitarian Path 5 years now, and so many people told me I was going to die. And they were so concerned for me. Genuinely, people like crying, like, please, eat some animals. And I'm strong, I'm healthy, muscular, all good. Everything's good.
It's crazy. It's crazy to me that people look down upon the fruitarians and tell us to eat animals and all of this. But when we tell them to eat what we eat, it's like, oh no, I could never do that. Or it's just, so stay in your own lane. That's what I do. That's why I constantly talk about fruits. I stay in my own lane. So it's crazy how people approach it.
Yeah. And anyone who wants to check out what Bobby's up to, go follow him on his Facebook, Bobby Smith, on his YouTube. He's on Instagram. He's all over there. And he has a website. If you want to go and get his merch, he talks about fruiting up. So you can go to fruitupwithbobbysmith.com, grab the t-shirts, grab the hoodies. He's on Etsy as well. And one of the things that, I don't know if you do this on purpose, Bobby. I don't know if this is something you've learned, but I think you are a marketing genius. Like, you have rented space in my subconscious mind for free. I don't know how you got in my head, but you did it. I'm telling everyone about fruiting up. It's one of those catchy things, right? It's just in there.
Yeah. I got that from a guy on YouTube that I used to watch, named Tom Avery. Older white dude. I was just watching YouTube one day. This is before I got on my journey too. I was watching YouTube, and he just popped up, and he was talking about the importance of fruits, and he had the benefits of watermelon. And he naming the benefits of watermelon, and I'm watching him, and he real informative, and he lived a life. He's been like a fruitarian for like 10 years. And at the end of his video, he just kept saying, fruit up, baby. And I'm like, okay. So I just was watching so many of his videos that got stuck in my head. So when I got back online, I just started putting it in my post, like fruit up. And it just kind of took off from there. So that's how the whole little fruit up hookup started.
Yeah, so good. I love that we inspire each other. I think that's a really important part of what we're doing here. And one of the things that you are so good at, which is one of my key things as well, since I had my big awakening in 2016, I got this connection to what I call the oneness consciousness, the energy that turns an apple seed into an apple tree and makes an apple tree produce apples every year. Whatever you call that intelligence, that energy. And it showed me that we're all one, like literally one, not metaphorically, not spiritually, but there's just one thing and we're all a part of it. And it told me this phrase, which just has carried me. It said, collaboration over competition. Competition is the old world and collaboration is the new world. And this is where we can all support each other. And I see you collaborating with some absolute great people. And yeah, I think it's when we all lift each other up like that, everybody wins. How did you come onto that? Was that something you were always quite good at, or is that just how you found your path as well?
What you talking about with the collaborations?
Yeah.
Well, with that is, that's why I tell people I'll really come in love because when I'm on the internet, if you notice anything about me, my content is my content. You know, no matter what you think of it, is my content. But one thing I never do is go on somebody else's content and comment a negative remark. Never will you ever see that anywhere from me on the internet. And so when I reach out to other content creators that's similar to my like a following or something like that, I'll just reach out and say, "Hey, great content, family." And that's just showing love to other content creators. So, and I know that's what it's all about. Coming together, we stronger together. So when I do challenges, I take the best of what I can do and use somebody else who can bring something to the table and teach the people and bring something valuable to the challenge. And both of us together makes a bigger impact on helping the people with their following and my following.
Yeah, absolutely. Who do we want to give some shout outs to, Bobby? Who are the legends in the game to you? Who can people go check out?
Off rip, Yaki, Yaki the family. Actually, it's so crazy how I found Yaki because I've been on the spiritual path, which what everybody called a spiritual path since like 2009. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when I first ran into any information. So big shouts out to my family, the 13th son. If anybody familiar with the 13th son, he old school from Florida. I was watching him back in 2011. He taught me a whole lot about everything I know. And that's why I represent the 13 so strong, based off those teachers that I learned back then. So 13th son, I pay homage to him in everything I do. Yaki, like I said, everybody know the same people I learned from, everybody learned from. Dr. Sebi, John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, you know what I'm saying? But the people I'm influenced by right now is like Kev Ramon, that's my brother, you know what I'm saying? Kev, one of them special beings that people really need to take heed to. And you see how far he going with the watermelon. It's insane. He like about on 130 days.
130, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, and Kev, when we first started the journey, Kev told me like, you don't know what's about to happen. There's some special stuff about to happen, and your life gonna change. And he wasn't lying. And that's when I knew Kev was different because he called it out. And Kev really just his own self. He teach you how to be yourself, and just don't give a fuck about nothing else. Just be yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I really, really, really show mass respect to Kev Ramon. And there's a lot of people out there doing it high level. You know what I'm saying? But for the people that I don't really watch a lot of people no more. You know what I'm saying? Like I watch myself. Real shit, like real shit. Like I watch my own videos, I watch my own interviews, and I critique my own self. I don't really learn from other people as much as I used
to. Amazing. There's a switch when you become a creator instead of a consumer. Most people spend their whole lives consuming. And when you get the empowerment to start creating, everything changes.
Facts. And that's what I did. I like now the energy though comes from what you putting in. So it's what you consuming. Like I was consuming information that's gonna benefit me to go on my own. Like once I got back into routine of learning fruits and what to juice and how frequently to eat and all of that, I didn't ask no more questions. I just started doing. You know, people spend their whole journey asking questions, and all you got to do is do and experience.
Yeah. I'm with you. The way I played it when I made the switch to fruitarian, because I was just guided so strongly. My favorite food in the world used to be steak, and my favorite drink used to be beer. I used to get blackout drunk and abuse drugs, and I was getting in fights, and I had a really crazy life. And it was because I had this trauma from my childhood. I hadn't figured out what to do yet, and so I was just angry, and I was trying to fix it somehow. And that was the way that I was taught: alcohol to numb you, violence to have a release. And I used to do cage fighting and stuff. It was a crazy time. And now I'm like a monk. I'm so peaceful. There's just peace in my heart, and it's medicine. And I see people who are so stressed and so angry and so upset, and and I just try and bring them the medicine if they're open to it. I do meditation teaching. I teach a quantum healing modality called quantum regression, which basically helps you to clear trauma. I went on this big journey to figure out, why am I so angry? And one of the reasons I found that I was struggling so much was because of the things I was consuming. So alcohol is a depressant. Alcohol makes you depressed. And I remember when I had this awakening, I got my awakening through meditation. I started just quieting the mind and tuning in and connecting. And then one day, boom, this big connection happened and my whole life changed. And I remember after that, I went and I had this steak from a cow on my plate, and it just felt so sad. And I tuned into the energy of it, and I could just feel all the fear and all of the craziness and like everything that happened. That was because energy is never created or destroyed, right? So it's only transferred. I could feel the craziness of this thing, and then I just knew if I put that into my body has to process that, and I don't want to process that. And then it showed me that fruits are the only thing on the earth that want to be eaten. Fruits, when they're ready to be eaten, they smell nice, they change their smell, they become sweet, they lure you in with their bright colors, and it's a part of their reproductive cycle to be eaten. And I realized even plants, I've got some beautiful plants over here. I've got some orchids. I would never in a million years just go and snap their head off. I couldn't imagine doing that to my plant, but we do it to a celery and we think it's okay. And it's like, I even I have compassion for the carrots, I have compassion for all the plants too. And when I share this with people, most people can get it, but then how do you actually make the switch to changing your habits and overcoming the addictions? Was it an easy thing for you to do, to just go and clear the addictions, or was it a process? Was it a transition?
Definitely a process. See, I'm not, I'm not in tune like that. Like you see how you just described your experience. I'm not in tune like that. I can't describe my experience in no other way than I know better than to be eating that because of everybody telling us what's wrong with it. You know what I mean? I see my people around me. Like, once I started tuning in, I started looking at the people around me really. So I was working at a grocery store, not to go off track, but I was working at a grocery store. And I started paying attention to all the customers and shit that's walking in the store. And most of them fat, sad, depressed, walking slow. And I just really started tuning in like, damn, everybody's sick. Everybody's sick. So I don't have um I don't have a lot of compassion and empathy for others. Now when I say that, I mean like it's a point in time in right now where you supposed to just get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you ain't getting it like you and I getting it, to where we intentionally trying to change our lives and do better with our energy, then you ain't gonna make it. You're not gonna make it. Make it. People like, where you talking about making it to? Up out of here. And like you just not you're not gonna be in tune with the frequency that gets everybody up out of here.
Mhm.
And that's all I'm saying. So you really got to start working on things and wanting to do better and wanting to feel better. That's the only way you're going to start getting better. Because most people who don't want to change don't change.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like they don't. And if you are part of them people who not changing, that means you don't want to. It's really simple. It's really so simple. I like I couldn't make it more simple than if you're not doing the right things, bad things are going to start happening. I mean, it's really that simple.
Yeah.
What? So don't, and people act like, think about this, Scott. Think about this. Don't they act like they don't know what to do? People act like they don't know what to do, but they know what to do. The acting is coming from not wanting to do it.
Mm.
That's it. You act like the arguing with people who doing the right things comes from you not wanting to do it. You being in love with the reality that's around you. But if you love the reality that you in, that means you love sickness.
Yeah. It's
If you
just
love it,
normalized. It's normalized to be sick, you know? The
yeah,
SAD diet, it's called the SAD diet, right? It's normalized. I have a 3-year-old daughter and a 6-month-old daughter. And when I take my 3-year-old daughter to the store, even to buy fruits, everything at eye level for her is candy. Everything is, sugar, sugar, sugar. At eye levels, purposefully. They do it in the stores on purpose for the children. It's all the salty, processed, fatty, things. So they make the parents want to buy it. And when I walk into those kind of stores, I'm like, I know she's being hypnotized and brainwashed by the bright colors and the logos. And it's part of the society we live in right now, unless we decide to go off grid and create our own communities, which is what we're doing. So we bought land in Mexico. We're having a go at living together, 30 families to grow our own foods. And I've got one of my friends, he's just done the same in Costa Rica. They have a brilliant community there, and he's just bought another piece of land. And we're looking for people who want to come and live together so we can build these communities all over the world. And one of my friends, they're doing it in Portugal, and they're super strict, Bobby. You're not even allowed to wear any clothes that aren't made from hemp. They're not welcome. Any poisonous clothes, polyester, anything like that, not welcome in the community. You can't play any satanic music. You can only play live music that you all make yourselves. Everything is fully plant-based. You're not allowed any non-plant-based products in the community. And they say people come and try and live there, and they just can't handle it because their addictions are too strong. It's like,
yeah, yeah. I imagine so. Because that sounds like a place to be, though,
yeah,
to get your mind right. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing about this, man. Like, I don't get it. Like, y'all doing the real work. You know what I mean? Like, that's actually putting in the work to do what we need to do to live off grid, to not depend on the government and all of that. But the problem is, not enough of us want to do that, to do it collectively. So you have to start living by example. That's what I aspire to be. That's why I changed my ways. You know what I'm saying? To get to work, to get to doing the work that you do. Right now, I'm only doing what I can do, which is showing the world that I fruit up. That's it. Because other than that, that's what I have to offer to the world, to show you that you can change your life. It ain't the fruits, it's a mentality. I could have went on a plant-based vegan diet, eating plant-based meats and everything, and still changed my life. But the fruits have accelerated everything around me because I'm eating pure energy. That's all I eat. It's fruit sugar. That's it. So it's really like, when you start being the work, you can do the work. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do the work on yourself, then you can help other people do the work. I couldn't come help nobody like y'all and assist y'all on your journey and doing what y'all doing for the people if I'm not on the same path. Because y'all been doing the work. I just got here. I just showed up and like, hey, what's up? I'm here to do the work too.
that's one of the most inspiring things about you, though, from my perspective, because 3 months ago, and I didn't really know anything about you. And then all of a sudden, my friends are saying, "Hey, there's this guy, and he's on this watermelon kick, and he's got this watermelon washout challenge where you just eat watermelon for a month, and he's bringing people together." And in marketing terms, you had this story that grips people, right? And they're watching you, and they're thinking, can he really do this? And some people are thinking, oh, he's not going to last, he's not going to make it. And you did, and Kev's still going, right? I don't know if he'll ever stop.
Right.
And I saw so many people joined your watermelon washout, right? And you do if anyone wants to go follow Bobby, he does a fruit up till 5. You've got one starting you got one running right now, and you doing another one in November or so, and he's got a community where he helps you. You just have fruits until 5. After 5, you can be more relaxed. And I like it. You
Yeah.
got these catchy things that people think, oh yeah, I can do that. I can do that. And yeah, the watermelon one, what's so genius about it from my perspective, it's an attention, like people want to know what 108 days of watermelon, and I don't have that kind of story myself right now. Like people say, oh yeah, Luke's been fruitarian almost 5 years now. It's not quite as, doesn't quite get in the subconscious in the same way. And then straight after you did the 108 days watermelon, you started the 103 days grape.
Yeah. Yeah. See that?
I just thought this guy's non-stop. This guy's just. I saw you had a couple of days where you had some apples and you had a bit of a relax, and then you were straight on the grapes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So what I did is what the challenges, that's what the challenges are created for, to get more people eating fruits. Because one thing genuine about me is my energy. You know what I'm saying? And it comes from the fruits and me loving what I'm doing, though. Like a lot of people say, if I eat fruits at that rate, I'll feel like that. That's not necessarily true. You have to really want to eat fruits and really like the studying that I did of the benefits of fruits and what they can do for the human body and mind is what made me want to eat fruits. Nothing else made me want to eat them outside of learning about them. So if you don't indulge in what they can do for you and the benefits of them, then you 9 times out of 10 not gonna feel this way about it. So that's what the challenges is for, to create enthusiasm and create a routine from eating fucking fruits every day. And that's why the Fruit Up Till 5 was created, so you could not feel bad about eating something else after 5 o'clock or during the day at all. And the 108 days of watermelon, that that was just to create energy, to do something, to challenge myself. It really was out of thin air. And the 103 days of grapes is the same way. It's really just to keep me in the lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you fruitarian for 5 years, but you can already say like, okay, Bobby is a high level fruitarian just like Luke because of what I did. You know what I'm
You make
saying? You can,
you make grapes look good. You do. You make grapes look good. I see you get your big bowl and you get your lime and you're squeezing it all, and then when you eat the grapes, you're going, oh yeah, and you do these big, oh yeah. And I see you really love it. It's
yeah,
fun to watch, right? It's fun. I don't do that. I don't get my mangoes on and start scooping them out in front of people. Maybe I should.
it depends on how you feel about them, what kind of energy you want around you. You know what I'm saying? See, that's just to create. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like I get my energy from other people. So when I'm engaging, most of my content comes from me engaging with others. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not really good at just sitting in front of a camera coming up with something. I need to feed off the energy of the people. So most of my reels you see and all of my content are from live videos. And they chopped up because it's just me being in the act of doing things because that's how I really am. I'm really excited about eating fruits. Everybody who come around me, like even people that I've met off the internet and stuff, when they actually come around me, they really see like that's what I do. I really only eat fruits. People try to get me to eat other stuff all the time. So, and I did though for like 10 days from the 3rd of September to the 12th. So like 9 days, I had cooked food, chips, and all type of shit. And I
Mm.
did that because I had went so long without eating other shit. Once I started eating cashews again, I got that itch to start eating other shit. And it's really like that. If you take a quick break off this shit and get involved in that other eating, you will start to indulge in that shit.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I really live. I don't. I really feel like. See that when I do stuff like that, it teaches me who I am because I always go back to the fruit and feel way better.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So I know that's the lifestyle I want to sustain. But knowing that I could go back off of fruits and to back to them, like I just did, and not really want to touch nothing else, that's where I wanted to get to.
Yeah, I teach people this 90-10 principle. Like
Yeah.
90% stick to what you know is healthy, what fuels your body, 10% be a bit more relaxed. I find that's a nice transition for people. It was a transition for me. I didn't go straight from eating steak and drinking beer to then fully in the fruit game. It took a while, and I had some people telling me to try going pescatarian and then vegetarian, and then cut it down that way. But once I figured out this fruit thing, it just made so much sense. When I'm hungry now, I just want fruits. That's where I'm
Mm.
at. And if I have a nice papaya around or watermelons are my go-to. That's how I start most of my days. And papaya is so good. Mangoes, we're really privileged here where I live. We have a organic store locally. They get all the best organic fruits in. And
Mm. Mm.
think if anyone hasn't done it yet, if you're watching this and you're thinking about making the switch, my experience is your taste buds literally change when you stop eating the crap. When you stop eating the salt and you stop eating the sugar. I got told I have this voice that speaks to me, and I do this channeled writing, and my hands just kind of write, and magic comes through, and I wrote a whole book like that. And this voice, it told me, if you want to have the deepest connection with the cosmos, you have to cut out the sugar. It said any of that processed sugar, it wires your brain up like a crack addict. And it showed me this documentary where they put the brain scanners on. You see people's brains lighting up, and it lights all the same addiction centers as crack. And I was like, wow. And so like we can't give that to our children. It's not the one. And so I cut the sugar out. I've had no sugar now, processed sugar, for over 2 years, and it's classed as a non-food now to me. Anything with refined sugar in, it's a non-food. And
Yeah.
since doing that, if I even would try to have something, because I like to test myself, I'm not super dogmatic about these protocols. I like to test things. Artificial sugar now tastes disgusting, and
Mm.
fruits taste amazing. But we had to
Yeah.
go through that thing of the taste buds actually changing. Did you have a similar kind of thing?
Yeah. I actually experienced, okay, so before the watermelon washout, I started that May 15th. Before that, though, I had already had a new sense of taste because I had been all fruits since September of last year. So I had already had a sense of taste of change. But when I got to like day 20 or 25 of the watermelon washout, I really started tasting the difference in the watermelon. And I think, too, because they were coming into season, too. So the difference in taste was like, wow, the sugar of the watermelon started tasting like sugar in the fake processed sugar a little bit. It got that sweet to me. So I'm like, damn, the reason why people don't like fruits as much is because they can't really taste them.
And the fruits that I was given when I grew up, they were not nice. They were unripe. They
Yeah.
had the sprayed in stuff, right? It's not. I didn't have organic fruits growing up. My mum raised me and my brother on government benefits. We didn't have the cash flow to buy all organic. It wasn't even a thing back then, right? So you're eating apples covered in wax, and you're eating oranges that are sprayed in all crazy things. And so when you eat them, they don't taste nice. And if
Yeah.
you have unripe fruits, fruits have a self defense mechanism in them called tannins, which basically stops animals from eating them before they're ripe. So if you eat the unripe fruits, which is what the industrial fruit farming does, the ones you get in a normal supermarket, you can tell the mangoes, they're rock hard. They're not ready to eat. When you eat it, it tastes disgusting. And if you give that to a child, if I give that to my 3-year-old, she'll go one time, oh, I don't like mangoes ever again, right? Done. I remember that. Oh, it's so sour, right? So I taste test all the fruits before I give them to my children and make sure that it's a really sweet one. So because not every watermelon that you get is tasty. You have to know how to find them as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's why you got to do your research and learn about what the fruits can do for you. Because in the process, you're gonna learn how to pick them. Learn when they ripe. Learn how to make them ripe if they're not ripe. And like one of the most unripened fruits that people eat is pineapples. pineapples are probably the most unripened fruit that gets eaten because they pick them motherfuckers so early. Like everywhere you go in the grocery store, pineapples is green.
Green, yeah.
People think people think pineapples are green. Like my motherfucking house phone ring.
That's all right.
It's all good. It's gonna stop. But yeah, that's one of the most unripened fruits though, the pineapple. And then another one too is apples. No, oranges. Oranges. I got a lot of unripe oranges during the citrus season because they picking them so early.
Yeah.
So yeah, your honeydew melons. Your honeydew melons are never ripened in the grocery store.
Mm.
They rock hard. You take them home. They not sweet. A lot of people don't know how a honeydew really tastes.
Mm.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So I tasted a lot of different fruits over the summer, not over the summer, but over the past year that really changed my taste buds. And one of my favorite fruits to eat that I never really liked are blackberries. If you get some ripe blackberries, man, they so sweet
So
and
good.
they so good. And I eat them with apples too.
They grow here in the paths where we walk. So we pick
Mm,
them straight from the bushes. You have to be careful not to get them near the roads because they might not be the freshest. But yeah, we just go for a walk through the woods and you find blackberries and it's fantastic here. If you get
yeah,
the really plump ones, the human eyes we have this thing we're able to detect when fruits are ripe or not, but it's one of those things as well. You have to remember we've forgotten because we're so used to just grabbing something from the fridge or grabbing something pre-packaged, right? We don't remember. But I've been teaching my 3-year-old, so we grow our own strawberries and some other things, and she knows. She goes, "That's green, Daddy. It's not right." Or "It's white. It's not right." "Oh, it's red. It's right. It's ripe, Daddy. It's right." And so
yeah.
hopefully we're raising this new generation where they can see it. Bobby, you are probably one of the world's leading experts on watermelons now and picking the ripest, juiciest, most delicious watermelons. What's your top tips for anyone who wants to know how to pick a good watermelon?
I'm gonna tell you right now. I got my tips from Kev Ramal. So but it was so crazy though because before Kev came out with a video of tips, I was kind of picking the same ones he was. So we're going for the biggest, ugliest watermelons. You want the ones with the dents, the little brown stripes through them, because the little brown stripes are like sugar patches, sugar leaking from the watermelon. So you want, or that's like insects trying to get in because they know it's sugar and they know it's right. So if you could get those big ugly ones with all the dirt on the bottom of them, and you like, I wouldn't take that. That's the one you want. I've learned that, and now you go to Kev Page and you will look. He got a house full of big ugly watermelons because those are the nicest ones, especially when you're looking at the seeded watermelons.
I like the ones usually that taste the nicest to me. They have these big yellow patches on as well. I found those ones are really sweet. They have the white patch. Usually it tastes a bit watery. So I go and I look for the ones with a big yellow bump. They look kind of strange, right? It's the strange tasting ones. You know, in supermarkets, they have this thing where they throw away fruits and vegetables that don't look pretty. They have to be
Mm-hmm.
symmetrical and look nice. But if you go to an organic store, if you go to the farmer's market, you see all the different kinds of fruits, all the ones that might not look nice on a shelf but taste nicer.
So they treat the fruits. I always tell people like they treat the fruits like they treat the people. They want all of them to look nice and clean and the same. You know what I mean? But each fruit is its own individual. They all come in different sizes, shapes, and everything. And however nature intended them to grow, however position they grew in, is how they come out. So if you go to the store and you see all these fruits looking the same, glossy, clean, that's the fruits I try to stay away from. You know what I mean? Like
Now the
for real.
people, that's the people you stay away from as well. You look too clean.
Exactly. You look too normal. You know what I'm saying? Like you trying to fit in. So I like be yourself, man. Do what you want to do. Like, and that's what the fruit. So when you eating fruits, and I haven't been privileged enough to have all organic fruits or nothing. So I get in where I fit in. Don't get me wrong. I eat a lot of conventional fruits and fruits that a lot of people probably wouldn't eat. But I take the best looking fruits and try to clean them as properly as I can. And I've had a joyous, good time eating fruits. And once your taste buds change over to where you can start actually tasting the sugar, you have a different experience with even conventional fruits. You know what I mean? They really start tasting way better than before your taste buds change. So just get in where you fit in. That's what I tell people all the time because you don't want to miss out on the benefits of fruits because you scared to eat them.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like because there's somebody got you scared to eat them. Even with the things that they growing on them and making pesticides and all these herbicides and fungicides and all that shit, that's minimal compared to what the fuck we've been eating. So I would still go that option no matter what.
Yeah. One of the things I see you're really good at, Bobby, and Kev as well, like you have taken this thing that you're really passionate about, which is fruits. You've made it into, especially in your case, I see you've made it into a business. You made it into a brand. You made it into a lifestyle. And there's this principle, it's this Japanese principle called ikigai. Ikigai, I think that's how you pronounce it, where you find something you're really good at, something you're really passionate about, something that people really need. And that's the sweet spot for where you're at. So when I saw your merch with the fruit up, everyone go get your fruit up t-shirts, go get your fruit up hoodies, like rep it, you get your caps, you got everything, like announce to the world your love of fruits. And then I see you do the fruit up challenge, and there's something really magical when, and this was my shift, I used to work for a $2 billion company. I was a sales manager in this, I was like a little bee in a beehive, and working at an office all day, staring at a computer. And I left all of that in 2016. I've been free from that particular matrix for 7 years now. I try and just instill in everyone, like there's a way you can thrive and do what you love. And when you do that, you feel great, which is what I see you doing. I see you just thriving, and Kev is thriving, and Yaki as well. I shared one of Yaki's videos on my channel recently about explaining all the benefits of watermelon. That the wisdom that's in Yaki's brain is just phenomenal, and the way that he speaks is powerful. And so everyone go check out Yaki Awaken as well.
Right.
And so I went from that working in a job I didn't really like just for money to then being free and helping people, and people coming and saying, wow, you changed my life. And I see that on your channel as well. You were repping people dropping like 70 pounds. People just saw an amazing lady today. She's 110 days watermelon. And, everyone's shouting, Bobby, you helped me. You helped me. Like, how is that for you? Is that a new thing for you, or were you already empowering people in that way before?
That's new. Getting, the public, what I'm saying, notoriety and shit. But I've always, even when I was like in a state of being drunk and shit, I was always empowered. Like I used to tell people the truth and tell them like we're not supposed to be eating this and we ain't supposed to be doing this. But I wasn't practicing it. So I was a preacher, but I wasn't practicing. Once I started practicing what I preached, then that started happening. You know what I mean? Like people start saying, "Oh, you help me, you help me, you help me," and now I really do help people because I intend to. I didn't come into this with the energy or the mindset to help other people live this lifestyle. I didn't know by showing what I was doing every day was helping people live this lifestyle. I was unaware of that. I was oblivious to those facts. So once I tuned into that though, and not only seeing the benefits, like you said, for myself, to free myself, to work for myself, but to really help people. Like, ain't nothing better or more joyous than making or helping somebody change their way of living and for them to get on the right path to finding themselves. So that's been a benefit and an experience that I've actually come to be in joy of. And I'm glad that I'm here now because it ain't really about the money now. It's more about the money aspect for me is just about sustainability. I don't even want to be rich and all of that shit. Money is fine and dandy, don't get me wrong. But I don't want to. My focus is not on money. It's about sustaining my lifestyle and just getting better and better and better. So yeah, it's a good feeling though to have people shout you out like that.
Yeah, I saw you just shared the other day about people booking empowerment calls with you as well, and you were offering to do some coaching with people and stuff. So if you're interested, go check Bobby out on his Facebook. Jump on; he'll share his wisdom with you and give you the kick up the arse that you might need if you if you like that kind of empowerment. I imagine you're a pretty direct coach.
Oh yeah, I don't let people lie to me, because you can lie to yourself all day. Because before you lie to others, you have to lie to yourself, or you wouldn't spew that shit out. So if I say I'm gonna do something, that's what I'm gonna do, and I practice that every single day. Even it's like getting up in the AM and like just popping up. Like one day, the other day, my son woke me up, and when I got up, I was like, "Fuck, I'm not getting up early enough." If he coming in here to get me up, that means I'm not getting up early enough. So it's a lesson learned. So I've been working to making sure I get up before he do. So I get up an hour before the sunrise. Every night I look at the sunset. I mean the sunrise, and I get up an hour before that. And
Nice.
that's just how I build discipline. And I tell people directly though, you can't lie to me. You can lie to yourself, but I can see you lying because you told me you was gonna do something different. And the only way to get better is to start doing better. You can sit up here and talk to a man or a woman all day about what you should do and how you should do it. But if you don't get up and improve what you're doing to yourself and then show improvement to me, then you're not really showing that.
One of the things you do, which I do as well, for me, when I made the change and I made the shift, I flooded my subconscious mind with people who were already doing it. So I went on my social media. I looked at fruitarian bodybuilders and I looked at who the experts were and I researched all about fruit and I trained my subconscious to that fruit. I can thrive on fruit. Look, this person's thriving, that person's thriving. I read the books and I did the courses and I'm like, yes, fruit, fruit, fruit. And so there was no fear there, but other people had the fear. And I see you do this really well because you bring the community. So people come and do your fruit up challenge or your watermelon washout challenge. They're in a community now. They can see, oh, this person's done 100 days and they're fine. Okay, well, I'm going to be fine. Oh, wow, they've done 100 days and they've done 50 days. And I saw Carly Muscle was sharing recently doing your watermelon challenge, and it's like, oh, wow, they're huge and they're doing it. Okay, maybe I can do it too. And this social proof that we can create just by, look, they're doing it, they're doing it, they're doing it. And this is something that you have created, which I haven't managed to yet in that same way. I really see you giving people this not just intellectual idea that it's possible, but social proof. Look, this person's dropped 70 pounds. That person's done this. And I think that's absolutely massive. How important has the community piece been for you? And I guess what's your advice if anyone is struggling with the discipline? Because if you're doing everything by yourself, sometimes it's harder, right, with the discipline side of things.
Yeah, definitely. With that, so when we learned about the washout, the watermelon washout, what that did is gave me a sense of that I could do some actual coaching, because inside that group is where you got a lot of these people who still like shouts out to, or who you mentioned earlier, Stacy Rickman Patrick, who on 110 days of watermelon. She started off inside the watermelon washout, that group. And in that group, we was going live every night together and empowering each other and guiding each other. And it was just such a beautiful feeling. And that's when I realized, like, this is where it's at. This is where it's at when you go live in the groups and give people an opportunity to tell you about their day, how they struggled, what they need to overcome, and things like that. It was just phenomenal. And then I'm giving people the encouragement because I'm leading by example. And I'm on day 30 while they on day number 9. And I'm telling them, like, if you keep going, this is how you gonna feel. This was gonna start happening. And people got more and more and more encouraged. So that's the group aspect, the community aspect of it is so valuable because it reaches one and teaches one. Like you said, you see other people's experiences and you going through the experience with them. And it's so encouraging every day to see somebody get over the hump and come to you with a problem and say, "Hey, I did better the next day." That encouraged me every single day to keep going. The people who in my groups and the groups that we started, that's what encouraged me to keep going. When they say, "Hey, Bobby, I'm on day number 3," I'd be like, "See, somebody who wasn't even thinking about eating fruits is trying to eat fruits. I gotta keep going." And that's how it go, man. Energy feed energy.
That's exactly how I do it as well. Public accountability. There's this old school belief that you should, it's from like thousands of years ago, Buddhist and that kind of a way, that you should banish your ego. And I don't see it like that. My wife says your ego is your amigo. And she's like, your ego is your friend, right? And you can use it. It's like your brain. Your brain is not good or bad. It's a tool. It's something you can use. And so is your ego. If you don't train your brain, it can be your worst nightmare. It can be a horrible place to live. But when you train it right, it's always looking for the good things and the opportunities, and it brings you more of that. And it's the same with your ego. I use exactly the same thing. I did this 10-day meditation retreat, silent meditation, no talking, no eye contact, no phone or books or anything, just 10 days, meditating 10 hours a day. So 100 hours meditation. And it was intense. And I knew it was going to be intense. So before I went, I made a live. I told all my people, said, I'm going in this 10-day event. I know it's going to be challenging. Public declaration. And when I was in there, on day 6, I wanted to quit. I so wanted to quit. I was thinking, I can't possibly stay here. This is like a prison. I feel so trapped. And what am I even doing this for? But I told everybody I was going to do it. And so in my head, I'm like, well, how can you be this teacher? How can you go around doing seminars and tell people about discipline if you're going to quit? And so my ego made me stay. And so again, that's one of the things a lot of people, they don't really get. And having a personal trainer is a really good way to do that. If you're in the gym, or if you have a gym buddy, if you have someone there with you, they make you stay. Because quitting then is a challenge for your ego, and it doesn't really want that. It doesn't want to look bad. It wants to look good. And so it's a little game that I play with my ego too. And so yeah, definitely having people there in the group watching you doing what you're doing now, the 103 days of grapes. So obviously you could change your mind, right? And if you do change your mind, everyone would understand. But it gives you that extra incentive and inspiration to keep going.
Facts. And I want to experience the 103 days of grapes. Like I wanted to do the watermelon. I got goals. I got intentions far beyond with things that I talk about. You know what I'm saying? Things that's in here that I can't even explain sometimes. So it's like I know somebody else who had that experience though that you did with the 10-day silence. One of my friends just did that in August for 10 days. And she said it was like a crazy experience. And he said she talked to so many people and like just had so many conversations with herself and like came to so many understandings. So 10 days in silence. And I'm like, I don't know if I could do something like that, because I probably could, don't get me wrong, but that's discipline right there. So it's levels to discipline. You know what I mean? Like
It's
that's
very
crazy.
similar. It's very similar to the fruit path from my perspective.
Mm,
When you eat just fruit, there's nowhere to hide. There's nothing pushing down your emotions. You have to feel your feelings. You're not numbing yourself. And it makes you more alive. You get an aliveness, you get an electricity. And it's easy to not want to feel that, because my experience is I feel a lot of things and it's not always the most comfortable. Say being sane in an insane world, that's how it feels a lot of the time. And so I call it clown world, what's going on at the moment, and all of the craziness that's happening. And people like yourself inspire me. I call it the Great Awakening. I believe this is one of the greatest times to be alive. The illusions in the world, they're falling away. This old school food pyramid that they taught, the foods was one of my big awakenings when I realized I've been lied to my whole life,
right.
told I needed to eat animals and drink milk from a cow and all of this crazy. And the food pyramid I was told I needed to eat grains. It's like it's in there, you have to eat it. And when I realized, whoa, that's just not the truth at all, I started looking at the other things and questioning. And Kev's really good at this. I see he posts about all different what people might call conspiracies. He just shares what's on his mind. He seems to just not give a fuck about what anyone else thinks. And I do the same thing. I just share what's real in my heart. And I got deleted from social media in October 2020. They deleted my Facebook account. I had 20,000 followers. They just wiped it out. They deleted my Instagram. They just wiped it out. I was sharing what I call truth. And it upset some people. They didn't like the version of truth I was sharing. And my version of truth, tell me if this aligns, Bobby, is that we are powerful, sovereign beings, that people, when they tune into their wisdom, they know what to do. And if they can just stop consuming the crap, if they just stop fueling themselves, and that's not just the food, it's the things they watch, the news, the TV, the music, everything. If they can just stop all of that for a little while and get to know themselves, everything changes. And apparently that upset some people. They didn't like me sharing that message.
I don't know why, and that's the message everywhere now. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not in tune with that message, then you're not on the right frequency, because that's the message. And if you don't get it, you don't get it. That's why one of my messages is only 85% gonna make it. And if you think about the 85, that's the 13. The 13, which is what I think is the highest number in the universe, and everything as you think about is connected. You know anything about the 13?
I know a lot about the 13. Yeah, they tell us it's an unlucky number. It's a trap. It's a trick.
Right. So the 13, so what I say is, if you're not on that frequency, then you're not gonna make it. Only 15% gonna make it. So if when people come at me about religion and all the bullshit that you hear, the conspiracies and all that, I'm so off that frequency. Sometimes I tune in and I share a post about it or something, but to me, the people who sharing that shit all day is feeding in, is actually fueling the fear monger. You know what I'm saying? Look, watch what's about to happen. Look what they doing. You keeping that shit going. So if you tune out of that shit, like I literally got off of Facebook and social media for one full year, and when I tuned out of it, that shit didn't exist. I didn't hear nothing about it. I couldn't tell you what was going on or what was coming up or what was catastrophic. I couldn't tell you because I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. So the people who pushing that shit and watching it on TikTok all day and all that, they are part of the problem. Because if you spin the message or change the perspective, change the message to eat fruits, do better, meditate, hug trees. If everybody was to push that message, the vibration of the planet would raise and we'd all be better off.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
I'm with you. I had 3 years. I was deleted from Facebook for 3 years. They let me back on. They let me back on in January this year, January 2023. Just at the time I was launching my new course. So we're teaching people how to heal themselves, right? How to heal themselves from traumas and how to upgrade their consciousness. And just at the time I was releasing my course, Facebook let me in. Before that, they wouldn't. They banned my IP. I was trying using VPNs and all different kinds of things. I was trying to get in so I could find my tribe again, because social media for me, the way that I play it, there's this. I love quotes, and there's this idea that I'm not trying to convince anyone to follow my way, but I'm letting the people who think the same know that they're not alone. And that's what I do. I shine the light and I say, hey, look, this is what I believe. If you believe it too, come play. Come play. And I create communities and I create tribes, and this is what we do. So when you're with the people where you don't have to censor yourself, it's magic. When you're with the people and you can be real, and you can even say the things that might seem a little crazy, and they can hold it and love you for it, even if it's not conventional, they're my people. Because sometimes this stuff I think is crazy, and it's like, wow, okay, who can I talk to about this? And I love those people who are open, even if they don't believe the same. Like the idea about freedom of speech is like, you can speak your truth and I speak my truth, and I don't have to agree with what you're saying, but I'll defend your right to say it.
Right.
And I love this idea, and this is what I believe we are doing. And I see you be so brave with your communication. And I think, and I'd love to talk about this if you're open to it. I think because of my background of being involved in what we call them street enterprises, right? So we the less conventional ways of entrepreneurship, and being, surrounded by this chaos, and not being afraid of police, and being physically strong, so I'm not scared of violence, and people can't mess with me in that way. It
Right.
set me up in this kind of warrior energy now, where I feel I can be this beacon, and I'm able to share powerfully and this message without being scared of the forces of the world that a lot of people are scared of. And if they delete me, they delete me, and that's okay. I'll come back somehow. There's another way, right?
Right.
And so I've heard some of your story before, but do you want to tell people a little bit about Bobby before you had these awakenings? And so my intention with this is not necessarily just to dredge up the past, but to inspire people, because if I can change, I know anyone can change.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was on the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was an alcoholic. I did drugs. I was actually I would be considered an alcoholic and a druggie. You know how they call people druggies and shit. Like I was a druggie, um, gang member. I was on the streets with the neighborhood gang, and my family all involved in the gang members and shit. So I was a follower of the in crowd. I used to be out here fighting and jumping motherfuckers, and out here acting a damn fool, not taking care of my kids, sleeping with different women, and just living foul. You know what I'm saying? Sick, unhealthy. So that's where I come from. So, and I used to want to be like everybody else, sell drugs and make money and all that shit. But what happened was with me is I had tuned in to knowledge a while ago. I had just kept, it was still the influence of the streets and shit was still powerful. So, and you, I fell off. I just had like 8 years of just fucking darkness. So, but when I got out of that darkness, I knew exactly what to go to. I knew to start fruiting up is to go to this lifestyle. So, yet you have to, when you don't got nowhere else to go, and you fucked up and you down and out and you doing bad, or you not living what you would call typical, then you need to start researching ways to get that way. That's the only way you're gonna find out. Research, and then you gotta know what to do. That's it. Once you know what to do, start doing it, and you will see the results and the changes come. So that's how I change, and that's how the majority of people in the community change.
There's this quote that says, God gives its toughest challenges to its strongest warriors.
Fact,
I
fact.
kind of like this idea that the cosmos prepares us. We go through these challenging upbringings. Mine was until I was 27 years old. It was really challenging in lots and lots of ways. And it made me so tough. And now the path has been actually softening. Right? So then I went through this process of softening and opening my heart and becoming more vulnerable and real, and inspiring those other people who were hardened. And one of my first ever speaking gigs that I did, I just stepped out as a public speaker. I turned up in a suit. I used to be very corporate, right? So I turned up in a suit, and I got there, and it was called Teenpreneur. And it was these 16 to 21-year-olds who were all in gangs, and they wanted to move away from street enterprises and change their life and turn their lives around. I remember I walked into that room and I stuck out like a sore thumb. I did not think about that. So, and this white guy rocks up in a suit, and it's like in South London, and all these gang members were there, and it was crazy. But I knew if I got real with them and I told them my background, they would listen to me.
Right, right.
Because even though I was conventionally, in a suit and corporate background and successful and all of that, those kind of ways, my upbringing is violence and drugs and gang stuff and that stuff as well. And once they heard that, they were like, wow, and they listened to me in a different way. And so I find our story. Some people say you can find your message in the mess, right? You can turn your pain into your power. And I see that.
Right.
So one of the people I know on the speaker circuit, he was in a gang and he killed someone. He went to prison. And while he was in prison, he found what he calls God. And he started then going and working with these young offenders and saying, hey, look, I was where you are. Turn things around now before it gets too serious. And they'll only listen to him because he's been to jail. And so this is one of the things I find so fascinating. A lot of the people who are speakers and on this path now had these more colorful upbringings and being on the street and gangs and drugs and that kind of thing. And it sets us up, I think, really nicely to help those people. So sometimes for anyone who's listening, I know it might seem like your story is challenging, might seem like it's less than ideal. But if you can learn to find the power in your story, if you can learn to tell your story in the way that will empower people, and I get my clients to do this, to literally make a page, or one page. In public speaking, we call it a speaker bio. When you get booked for a speaker gig or a podcast or something, you send over a short one page of your story. If everyone can do that, say as a little task for after this, go and write your most empowering one-page story about your life. And it's a perspective shift like that. And you will see you've been through a lot. And there are a lot of people you can help. And if you are brave enough to start speaking, just like Bobby does and all these other people, you can help. And you'll get those people too saying, you changed my life. You inspired me. You know, you helped me turn things around. And I think this is one of the reasons, Bobby, that the awakening is happening so quickly on the planet right now. I shared something the other day about more people have woken up in the last 3 years than in the last 30 years. That's what it feels like. And what's it going to be like in another 3 years? Because they can't keep us quiet, right?
Right. It's going to keep growing. And that's what it's about, man. Spreading the word. You can't have no fear in you. You know, fear creates less opportunity for you because you don't take that leap. You know what I'm saying? You scared of what the government gonna do and all this shit. What's the worst they can do is kill you. You know you truly never die. You ain't worried about that either. So that's why you gotta live in your truth. You gotta stand there and be who you are and say what the fuck you want to say and do what the fuck you want to do with within your means. You know what I'm saying? With what you capable of. Because it's a cap on everybody's ability because somebody else control this shit. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta do what you gotta be more than capable. You know what I mean? You gotta stand there and take it. So that's what I do. I be myself no matter what.
Life becomes way more fun when you're authentic.
Facts.
Most people are lying to themselves all the time. I wrote a book in 2019 called Find Your Truth, and it's like getting people to find what their truth is, who they truly are. Peel away all of the race and the religion and the background and the story and whatever you were told. Like, who really are you at the core? What do you love? What lights you up? What makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning? And most people don't have that. And I see one of the reasons I'm here on the earth right now is I light these fires in people and get them, shake them awake. Like, come on, life's beautiful. Open your eyes and let's go. Let's play. Bring in this kind of playfulness. And it's only because I did so much inner work to be brave enough to go into those things, clear out the traumas, like work out what was stopping me from being my authentic self. And there's still layers to it. I'm always peeling away more layers and more layers. And I don't know if that ever stops. There's deeper and deeper and deeper. And what's your journey been like with authenticity and speaking your truth? Because you speak very powerfully. Has that always been a part of you, or did you have to practice that?
Well, no, it's like that's come easy to me. I don't have no problem telling people about what's really going on or not what they should be doing, but the things that I've learned that we should be doing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I've always been approachable. I've always been able to express myself, and I actually pride myself on self-expression because a lot of men, especially in my community, don't know how to express themselves. and they keep these feelings inside of them so fucking dormant, and then when they come out, they don't know how to behave, because that's what creates your behavior, your ability to express yourself. So I work on that. You know what I'm saying? Like telling people how you feel, telling people what you're going through, telling people what you need, and what you want. And it ultimately, those are things that help you with discipline and self control and everything. So it's just everything's a process. Everything's a learning process. When you start getting on this journey, you're going to just align with the right things to do. And everything come at a different time for everybody. Your realizations and your understandings and understandings become overstandings. And that's the ultimate goal.
There's this series of books I love called Conversations with God by an author called Neil Donald Walsh. And he channeled these books in the 80s, the first one. And he just had this conversation with what he calls God. And he would ask questions and he would get answers. And then it sold millions of copies. It's really well known. And it's one of the closest books to like truth. It really lights up all the truth centers when I read it. And he shares one of the fastest ways you can develop yourself is to start sharing your journey. When you start telling people about what you're doing, you get all the people's eyeballs on you, right? You get their energies looking at you, you get them doubting you, you get them supporting you, but it's a lot more doubting than supporting usually, especially at the start, right? and it makes you energetically so tough. And I've interviewed Neil Donald Walsh. If anyone listening wants to go check it out on my YouTube channel, just type in Luke Scott, Neil Donald Walsh, you'll find us. And he shares really humbly. And I see that with you as well, Bobby. You're like really humble. You're not trying to tell anyone how great you are, or you're not doing any of that stuff. You're just sharing because you want to share, and it's your truth. And I love that. And I watched one of your live videos, and it was just you eating a bowl of grapes. Like that's the life you've created for yourself. You just eat a bowl of grapes and people watch you.
Yeah.
You eat some grapes and you drop a few nuggets of wisdom and people watch you.
Facts. And that's what it's about, man. Really living the lifestyle. And when you really live it, people want to see how you live in it. Because a lot of people intrigued by it because they want to do it. They just know that they can't because they're not willing to. You know what I'm saying? So they're just more so intrigued by it. So it's about coming up, showing up every day, and actually encouraging people too by just being yourself. If me sitting there eating a bowl of grapes looks intriguing and makes you want to do that, then I'm doing something good.
Yeah, you're doing great. Doing great. So, Bobby, to round up this conversation, and thank you so much for coming and sharing, and it's an absolute pleasure to help spread your message.
Right.
If you had this magic microphone and whatever you said for the next few minutes, every person in the world would hear, what do you feel your message is right now? What do you think the people would really benefit from hearing?
Man, be yourself. No matter what it takes to be yourself. And no matter where you at right now, if you're not working on being yourself, that means you influenced by something else too much, and you gotta constantly work on yourself. Because being yourself is the best feeling in the world. When you can get up and look forward to being who you are. Like, it's no better feeling in the world than that, and falling in love with yourself and being happy and content with the things that you have to offer other people. So find yourself to be yourself.
Yeah, it's what I talk about in my book. First thing, you have to find your truth, find who you are. And we're not taught to do that for some reason. It's crazy. I study tribes a lot. I really find the way tribes work a lot more resonates with me. And when you're a young man, you have to go on this quest and you go through this trial to like figure yourself out. And in a lot of tribes, especially in South America, for example, you do these things called vision quests, where you go off to the mountain for 4 days or 5 days by yourself. You have no food, no water. You have to fast for the 4 or 5 days. Sometimes you go naked. It depends how hardcore you want to go. And you're just there by yourself. And that's how you find your purpose. It's how you find your truth, by having no distractions, no anything. And we really miss that kind of rite of passage here. And my truth was, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to have these successful businesses and create freedom for myself and my family. I didn't want my family to struggle with money anymore. I didn't want to see my mum crying. There had to be a different way. And I seemed to have some intellect and some desire and passion to be able to do that. And the people who were successful that I could see were the drug dealers. That was just it. They were the ones who seemed to have the nice cars and the girls, and they were the flashy ones. And you do learn business, right? You learn marketing and sales and supply and demand, and so that was where I was drawn to. But yeah, I always knew, and I think a lot of us do. There was something different, special. I knew I could be more than what I was. And you said it earlier in a slightly different way. You can't make someone do something; they have to want to do it. So, any of you who are listening, if you know that you are destined for greatness, if you know that you can thrive at a much higher level, if you know that you're not shining as bright as you could right now, connect with Bobby. Come fruit up. Get on the fruit path. Clear your addictions. Get in the tribe, get in Bobby's community or my community. Come play with us. We are the ones with the bright eyes, and we're alive, and we love life, and we keep it simple. Don't need a lot to be happy. All of those complications and brainwashed things you've been told, all the handbags and whatever it is that you think you need, and the fancy watches and the fancy cars, that's not what's going to bring you the highest joy. Once you know who you are, truly who you are, and what's really important to you, you will have the most incredible life.
That's a true fact. And I couldn't have said it better myself, man. So, like I say, join the family, walk with the movement, stay tuned in, get some assistance, where you at. And that's how we come in. Fruit up, man. That's just a simple message I have for people. Really.
Fruit up. Yeah. Go grab your merch at fruitupwithbobbysmith.com. How else can people find you, Bobby?
Best Fruit way. Up 13 on Instagram, Fruit Up 13 on TikTok, Fruit Up with Bobby Smith on YouTube, and get at me for t-shirts on any of those platforms. Get at me for coaching on any of those platforms, and that's how we rock it.
That's how we rock it. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Leading Edge Conversations, where we bring you the people who are really living on the leading edge of consciousness. I see you as that, Bobby. I have no idea where you're going to be in 103 days' time when you've graped up.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
I'm excited to see. And everyone who's tuning in, you are amazing. You're incredible exactly as you are. If you want to go to your next level, if I can help you or Bobby can help you in any way, reach out. We're here. We're excited. We've got a lot of love and energy, and we get to decide what this next chapter of the earth is going to be. You get to choose every day when you open your eyes what you put in your mouth. And it's a really easy way to start. Fruit up.
Fruit up. Fruit up. Fruit up. Much love, family.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Leading Edge Conversations podcast. Make sure to check out our other episodes where we have incredible interviews with people truly living on the leading edge of consciousness.